It is more possible than ever to bling out your entire commander deck and not even touch the piggy bank that you've been saving in. If you've got a $20 bill, you're ready for this video.
This is like a pimp my pauper cards kind of video, and we're talking about special variants. A bunch of them are from Commander Masters, and we have some other sets. Let's get into it right now. Highest level of gratitude to our patrons who power the channel through Patreon. Check out the Patreon link in the description to learn about monthly giveaways, VIP Discord access, and even our official playmat. Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We are starting off our list of 20 specifically variant versions of very playable commander cards for under $1 with the brand new Captain Landry Storm. I wanted to put this one on here and start with this one because I just recently acquired this card in rainbow foil. So you can get the non-foil here for well under $1. I think it's like a 50-cent card. But keep in mind, with the rest of this set of cards, you may also want to look at like the rainbow foil, the etched version, if you're looking to spend a couple of extra dollars to get an even more bling version. I already had a foil Captain Landry Storm from the OG set, Ixalan, that it was in, and I swapped it out for a rainbow foil of the showcase treatment in a deck where I specifically want variants. So if you need a 3-cost creature that's going to make some treasure tokens and play with treasure synergies, Captain Landry Storm definitely belongs in your deck.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. Treasure is good. If there is one thing that is good about the variant era and the overprinting of singles, it's that tons and tons of stuff bottoms out, and it makes for a really good time for players. So keep that in mind. Up next, we have Gigatha, the Wellspring. For a green and red hybrid and 4 other, we have a legendary creature, Elemental Elk. It's a 5/5 and it has companion. No card in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana symbol in its mana cost. If this card is your chosen companion, you may put it into your hand from outside the game for 3 as a sorcery. And then it has a tap ability that adds Wooburg, and this mana can't be spent to pay generic mana costs. So this is a honestly a 5-cost like super mana dork.
Yeah, that can be your companion, right? So you can plan
you
to
can
have
guarantee
this.
you have it,
right?
You make
if you're
sure that
if you're a 5-color deck, you may want to think about it. Go through your cards, see how many specifically have multiple of the same symbol in the casting cost, and see if maybe cutting 1 or 2 of those and replacing them with something comparable will allow you to have this companion. These Ixalan treatment companions from Multiverse Legends set in March of the Machine, they're so cheap right now, and they are the version, in my opinion, to get. Gigatha's not the only one on the list. We've also got Luris of the Dream Den for your permanent cards. This one's going to be your companion if your permanent cards are mana value 2 or less. It ripped through the standard that it was legal in, but I still think it's got some play in the 99 and even potentially as a companion. I've seen some CEDH deck lists kind of mess around with this. But Jake, I mean, these Zerta, here you go, huge combo, right? Combo enabler, hottest possible treatment for this. I mean, this art is just, I want this as a piece on my wall. It's so tight. These frames, I think, look great. I think I was one of the only people in the world that like the Ixalan frame, but getting all of these right now in these special treatments for under $1 is a really sweet possibility.
Yeah, next up we do have some Commander Masters cards coming up. That set is in a really prime spot for picking up singles. Stuff like Jeweled Lotus, Doubling Season, obviously cards like those still hold a premium, but when it comes to the commons, the uncommons, a ton of that stuff becomes very cheap, and you get great cards like this for about 35 cents to 75 cents. We have Generous Gift, 1 white, 2 other, instant speed, destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. Just straight up permanent destruction in white. Love removal in Commander. Removal is the answer to making sure that you don't get blown out by a crazy combo. And this is a great card. Excellent card. Good pickup.
Yeah, these full art versions from Commander Masters, it took so many staples like Path to Exile, and it put them in these beautiful treatments. Like if you had a Neon Kamigawa Dynasty, any of that stuff, that kind of commander deck, and you specifically wanted to theme it all to the plane, hello. Now you've got your version of Path to Exile. If you already didn't. There's like 1,000 versions of Path to Exile at this point, it feels like. Same with Swords to Plowshares. And they're all great, but it just means that you can customize the crap out of your deck. If you're just starting out in Commander, you're trying to build a new collection, Path to Exile, it's the first word out of anybody's mouth when you talk about removal in a Commander deck. Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares. If you're in white, you want both of them. Gonna need a hard argument not to be running them if you're trying to run a fully optimized deck. And now, Jake, it's cool because you can run a deck that's pretty optimized while also staying on whatever your theme is because there are so many variant options.
Yeah, that's right. There are a ton of variants, and you know, let us know in the comments which Path to Exile you think wore it best. And while you're down there, go ahead and click subscribe if you're enjoying the video, if you think that this is useful. Most of the people who watch our videos are not subscribed, so if you do find this useful, help by liking it and push it in the algorithm so that more people can find it.
It looked like I was threatening them a little bit because right as you said sub, I put the art for Return to Dust up here. And, you know, I don't want that to happen to anybody, and I'm not saying it will, but you better subscribe.
I'm not saying it will, but it could, and it won't. We do have 2 white, 2 other for Return to Dust instant speed. This is just premium because it says that beautiful word on it, Exile. Exile target artifact or enchantment. If you cast this spell during your main phase, you may exile up to 1 other target artifact or enchantment. When they say that main phase thing, what that means is if you cast this at sorcery speed, essentially during your main phase, you're going to get a copy of the spell to do to something else. Now, you can use it at instant speed, meaning if somebody's about to combo off and you see their Basalt Monolith there because they have Zerta and Monolith on the battlefield, you're like, oh, now we got to Return to Dust at instant speed because I'm not trying to lose right now. Then yes, use it in instant speed. But that's why this spell is so cool, is because it's versatile and it's good spot removal for some of the most pesky, like seriously, artifacts and enchantments are so annoying to deal with if you don't have the cards for them.
Spikes in the chat be like, boomer exile, boomer artifact and enchantment removal. It's 4 mana, too stupid, too expensive. I still love this. It still exiles the absolute shit out of artifacts and enchantments. So I think that this is a very cool version of a, yes, got it, classic commander card. We're going to call it classic. Get down into the comments if you need to yell at us for suggesting you run Return to Dust. Here's one that we can all agree on. I think that everybody will be like, yes, counterspell, counters target spell. It's good. It stops things. This is a pretty sweet version of it, if I do say so myself. And I think that it's just, I just love this time right now with all these variants. I know that from the collecting standpoint, it is fire and brimstone. But from the customizing your commander deck standpoint, you've never had more options, right?
It's pretty tight.
There are really so many choices.
You know, I talk a lot about how, oh man, collecting is going up in flames and the fire and brimstone, but you're absolutely right. It's a beautiful, beautiful time for players, and that can't be, it really just can't be overstated. All these cards right now are a great way to turn people onto the game who might have different taste when it comes to art, and there's such a large, you know, honestly swath of different art in this game where it's like, wow, you know, there's so many different things. And how about a card that ends the game? It's Exsanguinate. 2 black and X. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to life lost this way. It is a game ender, especially if you're playing with something like Cabal Coffers and you're able to make your swamps even more. You know, when you're able to get the most out of your mana base, Exsanguinate can really shine. This is a card that I really think about, Joel, when I think about this card, because you put this card on the map for me in a lot of ways with your black decks. You'll run this and
one of my classic decks. Hailfire. Yeah, exactly. One of my classic EDH decks was big mana black, big mana mono black, and so I would finish off games with Exsanguinate. Exsanguinate's subtitle is, does anyone have a counterspell, or are we going to the next game?
Yeah,
that's
essentially,
pretty much how it
because
works.
Not only is the life lost absolutely a backbreaker, but you're gaining all of that life as well, unless there's, yeah, it's the swing. I mean, the first side of the card is backbreaking enough, but the swing is just like, oh man, this is an uphill battle. You do become arch enemy right out the gate when you use this card effectively, but at that point, you should be spinning out of control and just really have the game by the reins.
Yeah.
It's a great card, and it ends the game, dude. Cards that end the game should be more popular.
Yeah, if you are using it effectively, you are winning the game. Faithless Looting, one of Jake's favorite types of card that has ever existed, and it draws first, so it's even better, and it flashbacks. This just lets you dig into your deck. It's got this cool Streets of New Capenna cover on it. I really like this approach with the bow tie and the gangster thing. I think that, you know, this is just another cool version that if you're running like a black-red Devil's deck like I was playing at the beginning of this year, little black-red Reanimator Raphael Devils and Demons deck, this is the version I want in that deck because I want cards in the graveyard, and it has to do with Devils and Demons.
Yeah, and we should make this distinction because we've seen it in plenty of our comments. It is a filter spell. You are like pitching cards to it. So make sure you're running it in a deck where you're fine to pitch stuff to your graveyard, because that's where it's going to be most ideal. Sure, late game of Faithless Looting that you flash back because you're holding 2 lands in hand and you just want something else and you've already got a huge mana base. The card ends up being useful there. There's no denying that. But you do want to build it into a synergy where if you do pitch cards to the yard, that's not hurting you. So think like Madness or Reanimator, any of that kind of stuff. And next up, we have Elvis Mystic. This is just a good mana dork. It is essentially a copy of Llanowar Elf and so many other cards. And this is just a fun variant of that. If you're looking for a card that looks cool and you want to upgrade your Elvis Mystic, here it is, and it's about 35 cents.
Yep, that's it. Elvish Mystic, run as a mana dork in a ton of different decks. Run as a mana grabber in a ton of different decks. All the spikes, get down in the comments. Tell me how Kadama's Reach isn't good anymore. 1 green, 2 other. Sorcery speed. Send it home. 3 mana, not instant. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal and put 1 into your battlefield tapped, 1 in your hand. Shuffle your library. Classic spell. Crazy looking version. It's such a fun version of this. Again, Neon Dynasty era, Kamigawa. I think that people are really responding to this art, and so they've really kept tapping into it, and I've loved it. Love all these treatments. Another ramp spell, another classic ramp spell. It's probably in 6 of your 7 green decks. Go grab a different version of it. Upgrade it a little bit. It's cheap as hell.
Get a little full art version going here.
Seriously,
this is another card that's like 50 cents, 35 cents.
Click on the link in the top comment. It's a link to TCG Player. You can buy these cards. It will directly help our channel at no extra cost to you. Go pick up some of these cool treatments like Commander Sphere. Doesn't that look like some kind of cool pet following that sorcerer around in like a MMO? I imagine getting this as a pet, as an MMO, and just being like, hell yeah, I've got my ball.
I've got my my psychic floating ball. It's like this thing that's like, where do we go next, Joel? Yeah. And you're like, to the ruins.
I'm the only one who can understand it.
Yeah. Essentially, it's just like a Pokemon.
Right. Yeah,
right.
Kind of.
No, this is a great card. It is add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and you can sacrifice it to draw a card. Not much to write home about if it doesn't have that draw card ability.
Yeah, there's a ton of mana rocks that are 3 that tap for any color and also come with other cool perks. This one just lets you draw a card late when you are in dire straits. This one is printed out the wazoo. This is just the coolest version that I've ever seen, in my opinion, so I wanted to make sure we got it on the list. Jake, this is your favorite card ever that exists, hands down, in Magic. No other favorite cards. This is it right here. Am I lying?
That's where that ball was born that we just talked about.
Yeah, that's a mommy and a daddy ball right there. You can see them kind of right through the other one. That's how little baby balls are made.
That's right. If you were wondering, the more you know, and you heard it here at Jake and Joel. Grand Dynamo is a very fun card. It is not for all the decks, but if you are in big mana, I do suggest it. This card actually gets a little bit outside of our price range of under $1. This is at about $1.25, $1.50. Very cheap comparatively from where this card was in the past before it started getting reprinted in commander decks. But it's a very fun card. You pay 4 and you get 3. And what's great is it doesn't come into play tapped. So you pretty much get its price -1 ready to go for something else. You could just crap out a whole bunch of mana rocks using this.
Oh yeah.
Play it, tap it, put a soul ring and a signet out there, tap your soul ring, play more mana rocks. This is a really great card, especially if you like having big mana.
Jake was on this card early in our play group, right around when Commander hit and became a thing. He was playing this and everybody was like, come on. It's crazy that it still lasts to this day as a playable Commander card, still getting printed in Commander Masters. Here's a playable Commander card. Command Tower. 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Hey, if you got a 5-color deck and you've been looking for a Command Tower to match it, rock and roll. Or if you just want your deck to be the gayest commander deck on the block, boom, Command Tower with the rainbow right here. You're set and ready to go.
Or if you just like rainbows.
There you go.
There
you like
it
5
is.
colors right next to each other. Roy G. Biv, let's go.
That's right.
That's way more than 5. How many colors are in a rainbow? 7?
I think red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue,
indigo,
violet. 7.
and violet.
Command Tower, it's a classic. It's in every deck. I'm loving how many versions of Command Tower there are right now so that you can make sure to get your custom one. Jake, I threw this one on the list. Bird. This is just a big bird head, and I think it's hilarious. Yeah. It's
a good card.
One of the funniest commander cards as your commander I think that's ever existed. I play bird and pass. Yes, and it's also, it can be a really good commander. Fun commander. So, yeah. Bird. It's the best commander that's ever been. It's bird.
You sack a spirit to add red.
Bird.
It's just a beautiful bird.
Bird. It's just a bird. Get a bird. If you want a commander that's a bird, you can get a bird commander under $1. These profile pictures versions are very cheap. Like Marin of Clan Neltoth. Now, this one pushes over the $1 just a little bit, but it just speaks to the power level of Marin. Right, exactly. It's such an out-of-hand commander once you get your graveyard going. If they don't have graveyard hate, if they didn't bring Bojuka Bog, or they played Bojuka Bog early not to miss a land drop, then you're gonna be going off the rails with this deck. I've seen this deck just slam people. Whenever a creature you control dies, you get an experience counter at the beginning of your end step. End step, so you get it the turn Marin comes into play, as long as you've already got experience counters. Choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's mana value is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, it just goes onto the battlefield for free. So here's the hint. Play Marin when you've already got like 7 or 8 tokens on the battlefield and a sack outlet. You play Marin. Now, Marin resolves. In response to literally anything happening to Marin, you can sack all those creatures, get a bunch of experience counters, and then when Marin comes back, you're ready to get that Sheoldred right onto the battlefield at your EOT pass.
Oh, there you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Marin
that's pretty good.
Marin is just like, and that's like surface level. That's surface level Marin strat right there. It's just such a fun commander. Again, if you're, we target these videos at newer players or people breaking into the format. Give this one a shot. It's a cool version of her.
I like the pink and green. Yeah, I really do.
Me too. Yeah. This is such a good treatment of that. Just under $1. Pretty sweet commander.
Yeah, next up we have Ellis Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim, 1 black, 1 white. For a 2/2 death touch, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. This fits into a very popular archetype called Aristocrats. Little black-white Orzhov action going on. Just fits right into that shell. The whole way that it works is you have creatures that are similar to this. Stuff like Zulaport Cutthroat and stuff like
Blood Artist.
Those kind of cards. They all play really well together, and this is just a card that is going to be really great in the 99. And maybe as a commander, though, we would probably just want to go with Teysa.
Yeah, Aristocrats has a few options as commanders that are stronger, but this is absolutely a 99 card. And this stained glass treatment, I just love this of Ellis. I've played Ellis in a lot of decks since this card came out. It just auto slots into any gain and drain deck. So having a sweet version of this to really start pimping out your Aristocrats deck, which is an archetype you should try if you've never tried it. It's very fun. Look at Tevish Zat. Partner that with a commander, see what you think. King Darien. Look, token decks, token creature decks specifically, have been just popping off the last 2 or 3 years. And Darien is here to make all your wishes come true. 3 mana for a 2/3. It's an anthem, first off. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. So typically you're paying like 2 for a generic +1/+1 anthem. You already get that with King Darien. For 5 mana, with no tap, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on King Darien and create a 1/1, so your commander grows up while your board grows out. Then, just as an oh shit button, King Darien can sacrifice to give all your creature tokens hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, getting them around targeted exile and getting them around targeted removal and getting them around board wipe. This is an all-in tokens package commander. It has everything you need for a successful token creature deck right there on the card.
Literal heroic intervention for tokens printed right on the card. And yeah, it does everything you need it to do. You're in the colors for big mana so that you can keep growing it up and wide. And it's an anthem. Dude, the card is just busted. Just crazy value for 3 mana here.
And super budget and super cool treatment. It's just crazy. In the age of variance, all the prices of all of these are just getting driven down into the dirt. Hey.
Dude, I love this card. This card is so
that
strong.
Transition?
I see what you did. I see what you did there.
What up?
Little persist action. 1 black, 1 other for sorcery. Return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it. What's really funny about this card is when you read it, you're like trying to find where's the drawback, and it doesn't really exist.
No, Entomb plus this, 3 mana later and some life, you are in control of the game very early.
Where's the drawback? I know that it's supposed to be that -1/-1, but you look at it and you're like, you know, reanimate. You're losing something there. You're losing some life, you know, when you reanimate something. This is very, very tame.
Yeah.
It's
that non-legendary caveat, they really thought that was going to carry more weight. But I mean, in this retro frame treatment specifically, it's a little bit more than $1, but I think we've more than made up for a couple of cards that are a little over $1 with all of the like 30 and 40 cent cards we showed you. But yeah, I mean, persist, this goes in your Marin deck. Go pick up Marin, go pick up persist. You've spent less than $3 and you already have your commander and one of your top 99 pieces right there, ready to go. And reanimator decks, look, I'm telling you, I'm in my reanimator era. These are the decks I'm taking with me to Vegas. 1, 2, 3 of them reanimator decks. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, dude, I'm not even drawn back by the non-legendary thing. Like cards like Jin Kataxis come to mind, and cards like
you can't do Shieldred, yeah, you can't do Jin, but I mean, there's a ton of huge
Avenger
hits, right?
There's a lot of really good stuff that you can get with this. So yeah, I'm a fan.
That's it. If you're a newer Commander player and you're looking for a community, make sure you go jump into our Discord. Lots of friendly people over there that would love to help you out and point you in the right direction. Other than that, if you are subscribed, that means you're in the 30%. If you're not subscribed, that means you're in the 70% of people that watch our videos. Think about clicking the button. That's all I got for you. Goodbye.